straight into the Mart Volkswagen Challenge now. And at the front end of this championship, Stian Creel, Rory Atkinson and Lee Thompson can be fighting out. Lee Thompson making a welcome return here at Phakisa as part and parcel of this big day. He'll certainly be a man to run at the front end with the usual contenders in Class A. In Class B, the usual contenders are Stuart Mack and Jacques Smith. But Jody Robertson coming back to Volkswagen Challenge and showing the boys what it's all about. And he puts it at the front end, looking for a chance now to take a victory. Class C, look out for Cruiser De Vet and Riza Gulam going at it.
There we go, under starters orders now. Those lights go on, they go off, and who will get the start that they need? Does look like a brilliant start out front there from Atkinson. A little bit further back, the Class Bs are setting off now on board here with a returning Jody Robertson. Watch out for him. He's set to make a real big comeback here and put his name at the front end of Class B.
Puts his name in the front end as they head into turn one and leads out with the whole shot. Jacques Smith on his tail as they peel in there to turn one, right behind. And you can see already some pressure from Stuart Mack. Mack and Smith going at it. Further back, Class C's get underway as well. And it is Philip Cruiser who leads them down into turn one. He's got Christian De Vet on his tail. It looks like they've left Gulam just behind there. So keep an eye out on Riza Gulam trying to make his way up to these top two.
Now, Greg, I'm excited to see Lee Thompson making a return here to the VW Challenge, right up in the mix, exactly where we expected him. Lyle Ramsey also right up there. Valdu Mainkies, Wayne Masters, Bevan Masters, all the way down in Class A. We've got contenders that could potentially win this race, but out front at the moment, it's all about Stian Creel. Atkinson doing everything he can to hold on. Lee Thompson is only going to get faster as the day progresses, trying to hold off there Lyle Ramsey and Mainkies.
We're on board here with Rory Atkinson looking straight back into the clutches of course, all of his arch rivals. And Rory Atkinson wants to try and just bridge that gap that Creel's opened up ever so slightly. We're looking at the Munro car there, and look at how, oh man, Ramsey is having to go defensive already, and we're not even halfway through lap number one.
Yeah, he's closing those lines on the inside. Had two of those four wheels on the dirt, just trying to close that line, holding down that third place for now. But while these guys battle and try and close those lines, Stian Creel is just extending that lead out front. Rory Atkinson doing everything he can to hold on. This is the fastest part of the circuit. Four-wheel drifting there a little bit further back. I think that was Craig Gammy or Jean-Pierre van der Walt. Brilliant driving there as the Class Bs now come through.
Now Jacques Smith closing in on the back end and looking for a chance to get through on Robertson. Robertson is the man they've got to get through past and hopefully just leave behind, because he's not really involved in this championship. Having come in at a late stage, Jacques Smith wants to try and wrap things up here. He's also in contention for the overall championship and looking for opportunities now as they come through there. But it's Mack all over the back of him, and Stuart Mack definitely wants to spoil his day.
Oh, this is, look at the battle here further down in Class number B. Chris Dale a little bit further back than we normally see him. Alna Cruiser, Lindsay Kleur as well. But good racing all the way through there. And in Class C, Philip Cruiser still out front there, but he's got Christian De Vet. And you can see the guys just kicking up the dirt as we had a change up at the front end of Class A and in Class C as well. Christian De Vet is a little bit further back there, dicing there with Philip Cruiser.
Now, Class C, definitely a little bit of a fight between two cars. It's three cars for Class B. Robertson leading out at this stage. Mack on the back end of Smith. Smith at the moment sitting there comfortably in second place. And he doesn't have to worry about Jody Robertson. All he's got to worry about is Mack. He just wants to keep him behind. Robertson's not really a concern for him.
And these guys look like they're starting to close in on the back end of some of the Class A drivers. So that's going to throw a big spanner in the works for these guys to try and get through there, holding down the top three positions. The Class B guys really do have a good turn of pace at Phakisa here this weekend and showing off tires squealing as they come through Coca-Cola there. That is the prime spot. I think next time I come to Phakisa, I'm going to join those spectators on the top of the hill.
You might be able to get a Coke there as well.
With a giant Coke bottle.
Thompson starting to come into the mix as well now at the front end. Further into that front end battle, Lyle Ramsey leaving the two cars behind him ever so slightly. He's got about 4 or 5 car lengths there. We go on board here with Ramsey as they head down into the turn at the bottom end of the circuit. It's the second last corner. It's Gielkop, and you can see him closing down on the back end of Thompson.
Beautiful line there from Lyle Ramsey. Gets brilliant drive coming out the second gear hairpin there as they come onto the front straight now. That is car 22. That's Stian Creel still out front, but starting to get challenged now a little bit further back there from Atkinson. And Lee Thompson looks like he's got into that Thompson rhythm that we've seen throughout so many categories in South African motorsport, and he's starting to close down.
Speaking of rhythm, Max squeezing through and ahead of Jacques Smith. Jacques Smith's got a bit of an issue. He's slowing through that double right-hander. Oh, speaking of issues, the no-brake car of Gavin Ross with no brakes as he heads down into turn one. Fortunately, he caught it. Not quite sure what the issue there was on Gavin Ross's car, but he has now dropped out of Class A contention as Jody Robertson comes through with the Class B contenders on his tail.
Just trying to think of that crash. You know, going into turn one, there's a big bump there. Maybe just got it locked up on those bumps and just wasn't able to hold down. Christian De Vet there, a little bit further behind Philip Cruiser there in Class number C now, so watch out for that battle. As we go back further up, this is a good battle on track. Oh, keep it nice and steady there, please, boys. That's car 15. Chris Dale a little bit further back there in a good dice, though, with Holiday Junior and Senior. So he's got a family affair to try and deal with there. Not always the easiest thing to do.
Stuart Mack now right on the tailpiece there of Jody Robertson. Further up the field. Class A starting to heat up here into the final lap. Final 3 corners here for Thompson to try and find a way through on Atkinson. Lee Thompson on board with him now, looking for a way through on Atkinson. The BHIT car just ahead. Can he hang on? Yes, he can. Into Gilkop. I don't think Thompson's going to have a dive into the final turn. He'll probably settle for 3rd place, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do as they come down into that final corner. The Posse Drive car is going to take the win, and Stian Kriel another victory in the Motor Mart Volkswagen Challenge.
That's good driving from Thompson. No need to get involved in the championship, although as I say that, he comes across the line. They are split by a 1/10 of a second there in that battle for 2nd place. Class B, who's it going to be? It does look like Jody Robertson on his return. What a drive, spoiling up the apple cart here this weekend. Stewie Mack right on his tail. Jacques Smith not able to hold that pace. The top 3 in Class B.
Oh, good drive here from Philip Cruz as well for Class C honours, leaving Christian Witt behind in the Motormart Clarksdorp car. And 1st and 2nd place in C's is Cruiser, taking it from De Wet and Gulam. So confirmation of Class A, it's Stian Kriel, Rory Atkinson and Lee Thompson beating out Lyle Ramsey, Mikey's and the 2 Masters, and Jean-Pierre van der Walt, they're in 8th place.
Class B was all about the returning Jody Robertson ahead of Stewie Mack, Jacques Smith, the Holidays Junior and Senior, and Roberto Joaquim there. And Class C, Philip Cruiser, Christian De Wet and Rees Gulam rounding out your top 3.
Let's catch up with race 1 winner, the Posse Drive car, Stian Kriel.
Yes, we had a good start off the line, managed to beat Rory to the corner, and from there basically kept the pace. For about 3-4 laps, we managed to pull about a 3 to 4 second lead. We also managed to get the fastest lap in our first flyer, and we'll start pole in race 2 as well. So let's see how the tyres hold from there.
Straight into Class B winner Jody Robertson on his return.
Yeah, well, it wasn't easy. They made me work for it. So next race I'm starting 3rd place. So hopefully we can pull it off again.
Class C win goes to ATE Brakes' Philip Cruiser.
Look, I had pole, and for once I got a good start. And I was able to pull away from Christian through the race. So it was actually a relatively easy run through.
Welcome back to a slightly windier Phakisa freeway as we head into race number 2 of Motormart Volkswagen Challenge. Motormart, of course, just down the road in Clarksdorp, and so far they've had a phenomenal season as part of the sponsorship here and our main sponsors for Volkswagen Challenge for 2018. A couple of new drivers have joined us for this weekend. You can see it's going to be a hard task, particularly in Class B, to find the pace that Jody Robertson found in race number 1. Let's see if Jacques Smith has done anything about it. There you can see Mo Dangle. He's, of course, the big man behind the Clarksdorp branch of Motormart. We're good to go now for race number 2 as the lights are about to go on. Class A will start first, and then a delayed start to B's and C's as we go on board with Ramsey, sitting in 3rd place, but no, a little bit further back there, 5th place. Didn't quite see it, was a little bit of glare there, but in 5th place down towards turn 1. Will he be able to maintain that? Around the outside, it's Kriel. On the inside, it's Atkinson, and I think Rory might have just got the whole shot there.
Oh, Lyle Ramsey getting it sideways out of turn 1 as Class B head off. Now, what can Stewie Mack and Jacques Smith do about Jody Robertson? You cannot allow a man just to come in and returning on his drive and picking up a double win. So it's all about the dirt nurse car there of Smith to try and do something, and Stewie Mack as we head now a little bit further back in Class C, and it does look like Christian De Wet has got on the inside there of Philip Cruiser, so let's hope that he can hold that down and put a little bit more of a challenge now in race number 2 on Cruiser in that Class C battle.
Class B's down into turn 2, and up the inside Stuart Mack on Jody Robertson. The rest of the pack fighting out Joaquim on the outside of Holiday, and you can see Dale just ahead there, so it's non-stop action as we expected. And look at that, Mo Dangle in there as well, and look out for a hard charge coming out of Alma Cruiser as we get under braking for turn 3 and into the toe of the boot.
Now, it did look like Chris Dale and Holiday Jr. trying to make their way around the outside, using a little bit more of the track coming out there of the boot section to head into the Coca-Cola turn. It's still Smith out front. That's exactly where he wants to be to try and hold off that challenge of Mack and Robinson, but he's got a lot of work to do. Look a lot closer now, even in the early part stages of race number 2 than they did in race 1, as it does out front in class number A. Lee Thompson picked up that 3rd place, slightly more comfortable in the car. Saw them swinging those spanners in between the races. Thompson now looking for a little bit more grip out of that. Oh, Atkinson sliding. Did you hear those tires squealing? He had it 4-wheel drifting the whole way through that right-hander.
Mikey's closing in because of that, and Mikey's is just as sideways if you looked at the rear view camera there. Voldy Mikey's getting at a completely different maneuver through there. Might have been a little bit of oil left over from that bike crash we saw in the show, so maybe just a bit of concern there. And, oh, Oh, there's no oil at the final turn. Let me tell you that, Lyle Ramsey, as you get it sideways and onto the dirty stuff.
Yeah, onto the dirty stuff. Class B now already coming onto the front straight, so really good turn of pace here from our B drivers. They're also using that slightly dirty line that seems to be the fast line around Phakisa at the moment. Smith in the bright yellow car, you can't miss him out front, holding off the challenge there of Robertson. Stewie Mack, he's got to start doing something because he's got to start pulling some maneuvers to get to the front end of that field and challenge the two men out front. On board here with Robertson as they come now flat out through the right, left little kink and then down into the boot section. Very tricky corner because of the camber change.
Yeah, and also the elevation as well. It drops away from you as you get onto the brakes. So climbing down into the gearbox as well, down the gears and through turn 2, now heading towards the toe of the boot. Robertson closing on Smith and getting away slightly from Stuart Mack. Dale closing on the two of them. So we're going to aim for a little bit of a three-way fight here for second place in Class B.
Class C, it's still there. It looks like Christian de Wet still holding off the challenge of Cruiser out the commentary window. Yeah, so good little battle there going on in class number C, but it is B what it's all about. And you can see Class A also starting to really heat up. One of the Motor Mart cars a little bit further back there. It's a great drive there from Christian de Wet, still ahead of Cruiser. So Class C, that battle is still raging further down the field. And can the Motor Mart man hold off the challenge? Cruiser, oh, I thought he was going to go on the inside there. Looks comfortable in second there for now, but watch out for the closing stages of the race to try and get that car ahead. Problems for car 28 on the sidelines there. Lindsay Kleur out. Oh, Gavin Ross spinning it now. So I wonder if there is some oil still down there. We've seen cars get all kinds of sideways, and a good job hanging on to that car because that was a massive spin. Change up now in Class B on the inside. Robertson makes that move. Jacques Smith now demoted to second place. Stewie Mack got some work to do now to get ahead of Robinson, the front end of Class B.
Just watching the rest of those Class Bs come through, they didn't look like anybody else got affected by that slippery corner. So maybe that oil was picked up by those two cars that spun out. Now as they head into the closing stages, you can see some pressure coming from Dangle. He is slowly but surely closing in on the back end there and looking for a chance to squeeze out Stuart Mack and Dale. The Class B battle has been one of the best we've seen here today, that is for sure, but there's just as good up the front end. Here we go for Class B honours down into turn 1, and the Dirt Nurse and BPM engineering car of Jacques Smith looking to get ahead and spoil the day for Robertson. He doesn't want to give a double victory away, that's for sure.
Our Cruiser now has got ahead, so we've got to change up in Class C. Cruiser ahead of de Wet. Christian de Wet, can he do anything now in the Motor Mart Klaksdorp car there? In front of some of his local fans, like you said, not too far away, but he's got to try and get ahead now of Cruiser in that Class C battle. This is still Class B raging now. Macca has got ahead of Smith, so a change up there. So Smith was, after leading the race a couple of laps ago, now demoted to third. He's got to try and put a move here, maybe going into the Coke bottle on the inside. You can see bumper to bumper there, trying to pick up as much slipstream as possible while Robertson just checks out in that battle.
It looks like Jacques Smith has got a late race problem. Early in this race, he's very, very good, and his setup is fantastic, but just into the latter part of the race, he starts to fade. There's no fading here at all for the Posse Drive car. He can't afford to fade because he's got Thompson all over the back of him. Lee Thompson still looking for a way through with 3 corners to go. Back on board with him as we head down into Geelkop for the final time. Closing on the back end of Creel, but I think Creel will just make that polo as wide as a Tuareg as they head into the final turn.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Thompson, another brilliant drive. The man really just can drive anything. He climbs into a car, is able to set it up and run at the sharp end of any field in South African motorsport. But it does look like Creel coming to the line. Yeah, going to be separated by literally a bumper as they go across the line. Creel, the double win on the day then for him. Thompson, a third and a second. Brilliant drive there. This is Class B now. Robinson, what a return to pick up the double win. That's exactly what he would hope for coming into this round.
Good effort there from Jody as he comes through to take the win ahead of Mack and Jacques Smith. That'll be the top 3 honours in Class B. Class C going to go to Cruiser. Unfortunately, Christian de Wet wasn't able to find a way back past Philip Cruiser in the ATE car. Beating out the Klaksdorp man as they come across the line. Another good effort there from them in Class C. Confirmation of Class A, Creel ahead of Thompson. Rory Atkinson beating out Monkeys and Masters. Lyle Ramsey, Gammy and Van der Walt.
In Class B, it was all about Jody Robertson. Stewie Mack there in second place. Jacques Smith with a fade there in the latter part of the race. And in Class C, it's all about Philip Cruiser, but Christian de Wet was a lot closer in race number 2.
It doesn't get a lot closer than this championship. Equal points between Smith and Atkinson heading into the final round. Stian Creel still in with a shot, and so is Holiday Jr. Let's catch up with Philip Cruiser after a double victory here on the day.
I had a very bad start again, and Christian got me on the start. And then I had to work a bit to get past him, but he made me work so hard through that race. It was very hot and hard work.
A nice day in the saddle for Mo Dangle from Motor Mart as well in Class B.
It was excellent. We had a bit of a bad run race 1, and we finished in 7th. Had a good start race 2. Brought it up to 5th and kept it there. Overall, it was good progress for us, and yeah, hopefully it gets better and better going on from here.
Good to have Lee Thompson back in Class A.
That was a good race. The Oaks have really upped their game. Stian and Rory were super quick. You can see they've been doing their homework for a while now, but nevertheless, I didn't really want to get into the championship scrap, but it was nice to mix it up with the boys there again.
All this action from the Phakisa Freeway Extreme Festival is proudly brought to you by Mart Clarksdorp and Bridgestone Tires.